Today on the Cameron Journal podcast, we are joined. Oh, I should have asked him how to pronounce his name before I started it.
No
Evgeny
worries.
Kharam. I'm sure that's going to be a disaster, but we're going to talk about his book, Architecting Success: The Art of Soft Skills and Technical Sales. He is an expert on a variety of things from cybersecurity to strategy, all this type of thing. But I think this whole idea of soft skills and technical sales is very interesting because this is kind of what he does. And so this is going to be a fun one. My LinkedIn audience will love this. So welcome, Evgeny, to the Cameron Journal podcast.
For having me. And actually, you did a very good job with the name. So you're probably one of the few that read it correctly from the first time.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Why don't we begin from the beginning? And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your book?
Definitely. So I'm Evgeny. I've been around cybersecurity for more than 20 years. Even so, my book about soft skills and not about cyber. And people ask, like, how is it connected? I think it's very connected because by being in cyber, we need to explain and convey very technical messages. And if we're doing this in the language people understand, it's become much better. But beside this, I've been working in the space from probably in 2000s. I spent 5 years in the Navy in Israel. I worked for a big company called Checkpoint in Israel as well. Moved to Canada in 2006. Worked for almost 17 years for a company called Horjovic Group. If any of you in US watch Shark Tank, you may know who's Robert Horjovic from the show. So I had the opportunity to work with Robert, learn about sales from Robert while still doing technical stuff. For the last 2.5 years, I have my own consulting company. I have a podcast as well about cybersecurity. I have a book. I have a conference called Ski and Snowboard Cybersecurity Conference. It was actually a beginning of writing a book to check in soft skills and a few other stuff as well.
Yes, cybersecurity was, I have an essay coming out about that I think later this month in March. It'll be out by the time people hear this.
Nice.
I've had a parade of people come on this show talking about cybersecurity, and I am still um shocked and dismayed at how I feel like immature that industry is in terms of actually protecting hard infrastructure and and people's data and all this type of thing. And how we really do need some sort of, especially in America here, some sort of like national defense against these cyber attacks, and it just doesn't seem to be on offer. So what is your view of the industry and the future? Because everything goes online with AI, quantum computing is coming. It seems like security is going to be a nightmare moving forward. What do we
So,
do?
so think about that. We develop ideas in majority of the cases without cyber in mind.
Mm,
We develop email without cyber in mind. We develop DNS, the protocol that runs the internet, without cyber in mind. We
mm,
even develop AI in the beginning without any cyber in mind. It came after all of the potential use. And
mm.
we have innovation. It's like, oh my God, this is such a cool feature. And only then we think about how to secure it. Majority of the internet protocols in the beginning were completely clear text. I mean, no encryption. If I be able to capture LCU password and many, many other different things. For people that listening to us are not tech savvy, for example, if you go to the internet and you browse somewhere, you will see HTTP in the beginning or HTTPS. The S means it's actually secure and protected, it's encrypted. But if you go 10 years ago, it wasn't the case. Majority of the website still were without the security part. Right now, we're probably talking about 95, 98, 99% of the websites that are secure as well. And why I'm going with this, security is really pain in the butt for majority of the people versus think about it from design. Now, security is not black and white, it's not pink and blue, it's not 0 and 1. There's a variety of cybersecurity fields we have. You mentioned about protecting the country, but we can also protect the intellectual property of a company. We can protect your domain, you can protect your identity, you can protect your bank account and the bank as well. So there's really many different approaches and many different fields and different professions in cybersecurity.
Yes, and I mean, your point that we didn't really design the internet for security is definitely point well taken. No one has said that before, which I think is very interesting. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, when I started this conversation a couple years ago, we just had a pipeline hack here, the Colonial Pipeline sort of thing. Um, and I had watched documentaries and all this type of thing, and there was a data breach for the city of Baltimore. They ended up paying to get their data back, all this type of thing. Um, and some people said, look, the remediation of buying new computer equipment to replace the damaged stuff is more expensive than just paying the hackers. What do we
But
do about?
it's
I mean,
not
what do we do
all.
about
But it's
that?
not just the case. So if we take the colonial pipeline, what was affected is actually their accounting system. Okay, so you needed time to understand how they're going to actually make the accounting and how everything going to be paid. And you brought something interesting to replace the computers. But what if not the computers got hacked? What if I'm using applications in the internet, what we call SaaS applications? Let's say I have a CRM, Salesforce, whatever it is. It got hacked. There's nothing to replace because I didn't
Right,
own this in the beginning. What
right.
if I have and build a website and all my, so let's say I have an app, dating app, I don't know, crypto app, whatever it is. All the information is there. So there's already damage for the reputation. The account's already exposed. So nothing to do from this perspective, but you're right, what to do in advance. And this is where people need to understand that you cannot just think about this when something happened. You want to have it thinking about this when you're building this. If you're building a house, you're going to calculate and understand what is type of the material, what is the ground you have for the house, how many potential people will live there, how much weight it can have. Are you building the house which has tornadoes, floods, or anything else? Why are you doing this? Because you want the house to sustain what's happening. And I'm giving the analogy to if you're creating an application, you're creating a service, you ideally want to spend time to understand how to protect it from the beginning, how to use actually secure coding, not to leave passwords past what you're building, what we call penetration testing or bug bounty, to actually understand whatever I'm building is going to be as secure as I can. I cannot really guarantee 100% something can happen, but it may happen. So one of the examples is we're lazy as a human being. I'm lazy. I'm in computers because I'm lazy. Like honestly. So if I'm a developer and I need to write a piece of code, I can maybe go on the internet and find that somebody wrote a piece of code and steal it or use it or have it as an open source. Open source, for people listening to us, is somebody wrote something, but he or she allowed it to use for everyone. I can introduce it to my application, but did I make my due diligence? Did I do my due diligence to check how secure or vulnerable this type of code? So I'm introducing a problem into my environment without doing that. It was a very good example about 10 years ago about DVRs and all the equipment that recorded videos got hacked left and right. But when you investigate it, you realize that the company basically saying, if I need to put security and put standards, my product will cost twice more. And if it costs twice more, nobody gonna buy it. So we're talking about what you're trying to build, what you're trying to do.
Hmm. Well, I think you've proven once again there's no easy solutions to this problem. That
Oh,
there's
definitely no.
just it's all kind of a careful balancing act.
But we can introduce hygiene. We can introduce small things. If I'm telling you that I want you to, improve your, I don't know, whatever it is, running, for example, or walking or thinking, I cannot just dump something on you one time and do it in one day. But if I introduce mini habits to do that, then I am improving this particular part in a way. So if I will have a way in my company to introduce cybersecurity with mini habits, with sprinkle of it, then I overall we have a much better cybersecurity. So this is what I want to get. So it's not just one time I came, I did it, and I laughed. No, I need to introduce the idea and the mentality to do it all the time. If I send you an email and tell you you won a lottery, I hope you're gonna be like, wait a second. I never got email from Evgeny. I never even did anything with the lottery. Do I need to click this email? If I told you, hey, I need you to wire me X amount of money pretending you're a CEO, what kind of checks and balances you gonna do?
No, no, I think that's all quite important. Me and this shirt are not cooperating today. I always hate that. This collar and this shirt and I are just not getting along today at all. Um, okay, well, that's good. Let's turn our conversation to your book. Why don't you tell us about soft skills and technical sales and how all that works?
Definitely. I want to show the book as well. So I hope Zoom will cooperate with us.
That
So
looks great.
the idea about the book came from few things. One, it was during pandemic. We started to basically communicate over Zooms, Teams, and Google Meets. And I realized very quickly that versus physical meeting, you're going to have a lot of attention to me. With the virtual meeting, you're going to have several screens. I have 4 screens, for example. So if I cannot capture your attention very quickly, you'll be like, yeah, yeah, cool, good. And you're going to be on Facebook, LinkedIn, somewhere else, Twitter. So I need to figure out how I can capture your attention that you will care about what I'm trying to sell, communicate, or convey to you. This is one. Two, I saw how vendors will came in and try to use the same framework. Look on my presentation, look on my demo, and not personal enough to the people that basically on the other end. And three, it was just painful to see bright boys, girls, women, men that are very, very smart, but having hard time to communicate technical ideas in the language somebody else understands. So this was the motivation to write the book, to help people. And in a way, when I was writing this, I realized I'm conveying ideas that help me. I'm a second-time immigrant. English is my third language. I have an accent. I had a lot of trouble communicating in the past. So it was a journey for me, and I want to help other people with their journey as well.
Yes, absolutely. I remember thinking about in the beginning when you were talking about all the places you've moved and all this type of thing. Oh my goodness. That's too much moving to too many countries. So that's quite impressive. Too many societies to adjust to, too many languages to learn. So that's quite impressive. So, for someone who's maybe involved in technical sales, what are a couple of soft skill things that maybe three soft skill things they might work on developing they could take away from this?
Good topic, and it's a good question, I think, as well as in the industry. I think the most fundamental one is curiosity. If
Hmm.
I'm not curious enough about the other person, about my customer, about the other people, then I will just basically going with my agenda without paying attention to what's happening and adjusting to what's going on. So being more dynamic. And curiosity will lead to vulnerability. I will able to ask the right questions, be a bit more vulnerable. It will lead to active listening. I will be able to listen to something change, to what's happening, and it will help you to adjust and maybe be more empathetic to what's happening for good and for bad. So all what I describe right now, it's in my mind very important part of the communication. So empathy, curiosity, vulnerability as well. I think the other one that definitely close to my heart is guided and being uh, guide other people. People are being guided as well. I want to tell you, Cameron, what's the best way to explain something to you? Can you please guide me here? Or I can tell you vice versa, I'm going to guide you here of how this particular thing will be done. And when I'm asking for your guidance, it's part of vulnerability and open up, but it also gives you as a mature human being to tell me, yes, Evgeny, I would like you to explain or do XYZ because you know what you want. You're not a little kid that's still learning.
Yes, absolutely. And I think there's also, I think that also people buy stories, but they also buy personal relationships as well. And so that's
If I'm able to have a rapport with you, if we're able to find each other on the same level, then it's definitely going to be better communication. And I hope I will learn and understand what you need, and you will get what you need from me as well, and not only just trying to kind of cookie cutter approach.
yes, absolutely. So besides guidance, what are maybe some other couple ideas that people might want to adopt?
The two things, I guess. One is research. Can you do a research about the person before the meeting? Can you use LinkedIn, Facebook, asking friends, understand what they are doing, what they like, because it's going to help me to create, or you to create a hook, to create something we can talk about it. That the conversation will become more interesting. I mentioned in the beginning about the book is I need to find something that you will care about what I'm going to talk about it. So research will help me with the hooks. Have a general ability to talk about different topics will help as well. For example, I don't really like golf, okay? But
Mhm.
I'm curious enough. If I know you like to play golf, I'll ask you, hey, Cameron, I don't understand golf. Explain to me what motivates you? What do you like about it? I don't want to play golf. Maybe I will in one day, but I really care about what you care about, or maybe football as well. So this is all related to the idea of connecting and talking to people on their level, on their interest and what's happening. So this is one part that I think important. And the second part I kind of touch about is the idea of hooks. I can understand hooks, find hooks, and also I can create hooks for me, for you. If I have a background that will have a guitar. But again, I'm not going to have it because I don't play guitar. But I have made something that related to me. In many cases, I have a green screen behind me, and people ask, "Hey, WTF? What's up with a green screen?" So I tell people, "Oh, this is because I'm recording a podcast." So it's opening up the conversation to talk about my podcast. Actually, I forgot one. Questions. Open-ended questions when close-ended question. If I ask you, Cameron, what is your favorite color? For example,
Red, obviously.
red. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is this question help me? Not really. I just learned you like red, but it didn't open up the conversation anywhere. It was basically a yes or no question, close-ended question. But if I ask you, Cameron, what is your favorite color and why? Now you have to
Mhm.
explain. Now you need to go. And I may ask, can you elaborate? This may lead to other hooks or other topics to open up the conversation.
No, I think for those that as a conversationalist, this all makes so much sense to me. And I do it all the time, multiple times a week on the show. But I think for people who really struggle in this area, which is just so strange because I'm like, oh my God, don't you talk to people? Don't you have curiosity? I found out no, most people don't. I think it's very important for people to understand how to actually build a conversation, and it is an art
It's
form.
not just for technical sales. This is for any consulting, for anything you do with people, even if you're a host guest. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. I know. No, I was just complimenting to say how important it is to learn because I did not. All I was saying is I did not realize for a long time what I thought were just like basic skills of talking to people are oftentimes a mystery sort of thing. And so I think it's good that you're saying to get actually people to open up and start having the type of conversation they need to be happening.
And if you think about that, like we need to practice this conversation somewhere. It's not just I went to ChatGPT and learned how to communicate. Well, actually, you probably can a bit right now, but it's almost like riding a bicycle. You need to practice this. You need to scrape your knee. You need to understand how to navigate this. And what I always recommend people that I think is great to do outside of your work or your main job. One of my favorite exercise is to talk to a cashier when I'm buying groceries. I'm basically trying to make him or her smile. And if I can do it, then I made my homework, let's say, put it like that, and I made their day better. So it's no harm done. And if it not able to make him or her smile, then nothing bad happened as well.
Yes, absolutely. Having grown up the grandson of a grocery store talker, that it seems so. Again, a lot of this stuff seems so simple and rudimentary to life. But I understand from reading other people's experiences and talking to them how how difficult people find it and how much they struggle with it. And so it's good that you've kind of written it all down. I think especially true for people who work in very technical fields, don't really understand how to translate what they do to people who are not insiders. That's a huge problem.
And I think the best way to do it is to find their hobbies. So I mentioned golf. Okay, what's one of your favorite hobbies? For example, I don't know. Let's play a game.
I don't have any, so let's go with golf.
Let's go with podcasting. You like podcasting. You're a host, correct? So I hope you like what you do or what you do. So if I'm trying to explain a technical idea and I know the person on the other end have some other hobbies, I can try to match and explain in these terms, or vice versa. If I'm a technical person and I'm having trouble, you can tell me, Evgeny, what do you like? Try to explain in this in the terms you like. Board games, riding a bicycle, doing snowboarding, outdoor. So the moment that you're doing that, I now can go on my comfortable level and move from bits and bytes, chemistry, analytics, whatever it is, and talk on a different language.
Yeah. No, I think that's especially, if communication is a area of struggle, I think it's so incredibly important and just endlessly interesting. And I hope so many technical people end up, reading your book and learning how to do this because it is incredibly important.
Right. And in the beginning, you mentioned about cybersecurity. There's still, in some cases, a mystery. So one of the ways I like to explain cybersecurity is have an analogy of a house.
Hmm.
So when you want to leave to vacation, you probably want to close all the windows in your house or in your apartment. So one, you actually need to know how many windows and doors you have. Because if you don't know, you will not able to close this. This can represents the amount of different locations you have in your company or amount of computers you have in the company. Then you want to make sure they actually close. So this is kind of one security protection. Later, you may have a camera that can watch the bad guys come in, but cannot really do anything by itself. It can alert somebody else. You may have an alarm system that will able to alert, but not do anything else. You may have a gate. A gate and a fence will prevent people to get to your house until certain time if they jump over. You may have a dog that will able to bark and maybe do something to the bad guys. And combination with not using only one control in our house to make sure it's secure, it's several controls, including an alarm and a camera that maybe the police or the alarm company will come to investigate what's happening. And we have different logging systems to understand when and what happened if it was disabled. And this could be an analogy to explain to people how we're protecting an office or a network or a factory or whatever it is from the bad guys. We will layer different security controls, and each control will do something else. One will be preventive, one will be detecting, and stuff like that. And many analogies like that we can create to explain what we do. But this is going to be the one that I use a lot to explain to people about how we protect a company.
No, I mean, I think those sorts of simple, easy to understand analogies that people can kind of get their heads around, especially in a very technical thing, is so important and so vital because it's very easy to get kind of lost in the sauce or people just get confused and don't want to engage and don't want to worry about it because it's too confusing. Or like in a sales environment, you get run around with oh, you need to go talk to the person and or people that actually understands that sort of thing. And then maybe they'll come back to us and tell us whether we need this or not. And then your sales process has gotten totally out of control. So it definitely makes sense. When it comes to cybersecurity, what are some of the common sense things that people and businesses should be doing to keep things more secure?
Coming back to talk about hygiene, passwords, password management. Don't use the same passwords. Don't use the same passwords, especially in important parts between office and home in your bank accounts. I hope it became a common sense that use multi-factor, two-factor authentication where you connect to bank systems. Definitely want to separate and can separate cybersecurity for users, like for us at home and for enterprises as well. I think if you're talking about people that listening to us right now for home, password management and password management tools is going to be one of the important part. Two is just don't click on any link you see. And if somebody tell you your account got hacked, don't click on the link. Go to the account and change the password from there. And one of the things I think is important is see what emails you use everywhere. In many cases, creating a separate emails for you specific accounts like a bank, for example, where you don't use this email with your Spotify and your Facebook, it could be also a good idea of separation of duties. Because if your Facebook account email you get notification about your bank, but you don't use this email with your bank, and you know it's bad.
Right.
The other part that we're getting there, unfortunately, is the entire idea of deepfake. It's
Mm.
becoming more and more popular. You have a call from your grandma or from your child, like, I need money, I got stuck, whatever it is. It's really a good time right now to create a secret phrase or secret question between your family that if somebody call you in distress, you're able to ask, hey, what's your favorite cake? Which where we went on vacation when you were two, or not two, maybe eight, something like that to understand are you talking to a bad guys, maybe even talking to AI as well. So this is definitely one of the things you can do. There's many other ideas about make sure your laptop is protected. You have some kind of basic antivirus. You haven't keep patching. You're not sticking USB keys that I hope people don't do it anymore randomly are there. You have a backup of your information and you have some kind of not just online, but backup somewhere else on a physical hard drive from time to time. So this is for home. We can probably go for a very long time. You're not sharing your documents from your Dropbox. OneDrive is everyone on the market, and you can see, you know, where is your important documents and how is it protected, and you have a separate drive for some example. This is some of the ideas for home.
Yeah, what about for business owners? This is one of the things I think we run into at Suit Media, and I don't have it as bad at the Cameron Joel because I don't have that many people, but we have a team of 11 at Suit Media. So many people have so much access to things. How to keep it all secure? What do we do?
So it's definitely a longer conversation, but I think you mentioned some of the, we're answering your question. You have many people, and I think number one is to have a centralized identity. So not just everybody connect as they want, because people may come and go. You may hire a person, the person may leave. So you want centrally connect who can access where. And by have centralized identity, now you can allow or disallow access. And based on this, you can also create what we call role-based access control or control to where people can do. So this is definitely can simplify the stuff. Some people use Google, some people use Microsoft, there is Okta and many other vendors. I'm not kind of inducing anyone right now, but this is probably going to be number one. Two, in the industry, we call something called gap analysis. We actually want to understand where you are right now. What type of business you're running? Do you have any infrastructure? What is your crown jewel? Like what's important for you? If it disappears or get damaged, you're not able to do your work. And based on this, we can create controls that will help you understand on what you can do. Could be email security, endpoint security on your laptops, URL filtering protection. This will prevent you to go to malicious and dangerous websites or click on dangerous links as well. Depending on your size, we can collect all this information to logging systems to analyze and use behavior. And we can go deeper, deeper, and deeper. If a company has their own application development, then we want to make sure we're producing as secure as possible applications. It means there will be no passwords, no API keys, no vulnerabilities inside the application.
Very good. Very good. Well, I appreciate all of this. This is again, it's always been a fascinating topic. It continues to be something very interesting, and I hope that one of these days we can come up with a better way of defending all this stuff and keeping people more secure. But thank you so much for all you're talking about soft skills and communication. That's so important. All the advice on cybersecurity, excellent. Um, we're at the part of the show where we do plugs. So why don't you tell us where we can find you online and where we can find you on social media to keep up with you?
You can appreciate this part. as you messed up, not messed, actually, you didn't mess up with my name. You did it correctly, but the name is quite hard to read. So there's not too many Evgenys online. If you go on LinkedIn and find Evgenyi Kharam, EVGENIYKHAREM on LinkedIn, or if you go to softskillstag.ca or softskillstag.com, you'll find quite a lot about the book as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Cameron Journal podcast.
Thank you for hosting me. It was a pleasure.
That's all for this episode of the Cameron Journal podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Visit us online at CameronJournal.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I love to talk to my followers and listeners, so please feel free to get us on social media at Cameron Cowan on Twitter, and we'll see you next time on the Cameron Journal podcast. Thank you.